Hi, Judy. Oh, I can't hear you. Hold on. My speaker must be down. Oh, there you are. I hear you now.
Hi.
How are you?
Doing? I'm doing really good. Oh, I love your hair.
Thank you.
Oh, my goodness. That's beautiful.
Thank you.
That's my daughters. They love to do like the blue and the red.
Yes.
And, and it's right now, it's the season to just be all out and
just be your authentic self.
That's right.
Since you're at home anyway.
Can you hear me okay, or should I put a headset on?
Oh, no, you're fine. I can hear you.
Okay. I'm really loud as it is. So my husband's like, don't be too loud. I'm like, okay, I'll try not to.
All right. We'll just give it a couple more minutes. We start right at 7. As you can see, my mom's in the car.
Yes, I see her. She's finishing up a loan signing, I'm sure.
Yes.
Yes. Hi, Miss Liz.
She can't. She got to concentrate. Concentrate.
Yes. I love her. She's so full of energy. I met her at the National Notary Association.
Oh, okay.
And she was running up and down the aisle with so much enthusiasm and energy. And she was helping out. And I was like, I've got to meet her. And I was right in the front with her. So she was just like running from one end of the stadium to the other.
Oh, how funny.
Yes. I fell in love with her then. Yeah, she's amazing.
And Eddie's with you, or is he going to log in?
Yeah, Eddie's supposed to be on. He said I made sure he had the link. And I go, you sure you have the link? I can send it to you again, because sometimes with those threads, they could be like 25 of them. I think ours was 25 back and forth.
It was long.
Yes.
We've been talking for a minute.
Oh, okay. Have you been in like the radio long, Tamika? I like your setup there.
You know what? Actually, my setup is from, I used to do vlogs for Black Business Women Network. And so my kids bought this for me for a Christmas present one year. And I was like, oh my gosh, I look so official.
Yeah, you do. I thought we were on the radio. Like,
no.
Yeah, it's a good skill to learn and to keep.
Yes, definitely. So I'm gonna get started with just the intros. I don't see Eddie on here yet, though.
Okay, let me just let him know. I'll tell him.
Let me read the intros, and then maybe you can like hit him up on text or something.
Oh, okay. Sure.
All right. So welcome everyone to EC Head Consulting Notary Nuggets. This Wednesday we have Judy Lynchenberger and Eddie Malik. How do you say his last name?
It's Malik.
Malik. Okay, and I said your name right?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
You got it right. Yes.
Okay.
I get sometimes they want to be fancy and say Lynchenberger. I'm like, oh, what? So yeah.
And Eddie and thank you. Eddie and Judy are financial professionals, and they're going to be speaking to us about there he is. I see him. He just popped up. His nice picture just popped up. Nice looking gentleman. All right. So I'm just going to read the bios. First is Eddie.
Sure.
He's a wealth builder, protecting one family at a time, strengthening successful principles, money, and entrepreneurship. He holds a BA in audio engineering. Judy, financial professional, holds an active adjuster's license, general line agent license, and a life insurance license. She's the owner of Eagle Eye Signing and Mobile Notary LLC as a loan signing agent who is commissioned, bonded, and insured. Yay. All right. So welcome you two.
Thank you, Tamika. Thank you for having us on.
All right, and let's get this party started. We have more people just joining in. Welcome everyone who's just coming on in. And Judy, take it away.
Okay, well, thank you everybody for joining us. We're gonna be talking about financial fun and just streams of income. And that's exciting when we're learning how to make more money. And I hear something in the background. Is that me?
Go ahead, keep talking. I'm muting people. It's just people that are coming in.
And I just wanted to just jump on here. And as I learn things and things are working for me, I want to share them. I
Yes,
want to tell the
please.
whole world about that, you know? I was introduced recently to Eddie, and he is amazing. He's an amazing guy, amazing friend, and he's in the winner's circle.
Okay.
So it's kind of like that law of attraction kind of thing. When you
Right.
find something that works, and I'm just watching him, and he's my mentor, of course, just listening and just watching myself grow as a person. And in our circle, they really focus on self development and developing yourself. So I see that in him, just watching him. He's a family oriented, a great father. He has two beautiful children and a beautiful wife. And just watching him and her work together, I was like, I want that to be me and my husband. We're not young anymore, but we can still do that.
Yes.
We can still, you know? And what I love about Eddie is he's very patient. And when he's teaching things, I mean, people don't catch on right away. I'm a little bit older, but he's
Right.
very patient. And I feel so like empowered and uplifted because he is a man of God. And in our circles, when we go and we do our masterminds and we talk about business, we always end it with a prayer. And I love that. So I'll just let Eddie tell a little bit about himself. Eddie, Malik,
Yeah,
welcome.
thank you. Thank you, Judy.
Welcome.
No, it's Tamika. Am I
Yes.
pronouncing it? I'm sorry. I just hopped on a little late. So I love the background, that female version of a hustler. I really like that. That's awesome. So yeah, um, I've been doing this here. This upcoming month will be about 3 years, and it's completely changed my life. Um, Prior to this, I had a job. I was a supervisor at an aerospace industry, completely different from my major. But
Okay.
nowadays, a lot of people go to school. They don't really do what they study for.
Thank you.
I see that.
Absolutely.
I see that way too often.
Yes,
But they
And
have
I,
a speaker today.
Oh, okay.
so, and I'm an example of that myself. My whole dream was audio engineering. That's what I went to school for. If anybody's familiar with Dr. Dre, I wanted to get to be the next big hip hop producer
Okay.
out in Hollywood. I'm in California.
Okay.
So, that's why I love technology too. It allows the ability to connect with people all throughout the nation. And that's actually how Judy and I met. And it's just cool utilizing platform. You just got to make the most of it. I know it's unfortunate with this pandemic, and instead of a lot of people use it as an excuse not to want to overcome it, or just making excuses, complaining about it, where there's other people that just pivot, right? You just gotta, I like the term when they say you don't panic, just pivot.
Yes.
So you just gotta, we're trailblazers. We're meant to innovate. We're meant to just make the most of anything. So so before that, baseball was my dream. I thought I was going to be a big baseball player. I was a pitcher, all-star pitcher, a left-hander. My arm thought otherwise. So sports didn't work out. And then that's how I kind of got into the college scene. I wanted to get in the entertainment industry. I visited some pretty ritzy studios out in Hollywood. I'm in a building with Taylor Swift, Miley Cyrus. They're all in there. It's a bit surreal. But I noticed in that industry, it was very toxic. It's a very fast life. I'd see in the studios, they got, bottles lined up of Henny, Grey Goose. They got all the bottles. They got substances. There's smoke. There's just the environment. I just it didn't appeal to me, because I know eventually the environment is going to overtake me, and I'd succumb to all that stuff. And then a lot of the guys I would talk to, they say, Eddie, if you plan on really pursuing this, do not have a family. And I've always wanted a family. That's my thing. I'm blessed now with my wife and our two children. We have a boy and a girl. They're 7 and 3, or 7 and 2, I'm sorry. And, just super blessed. And I probably wouldn't have this if I planned on pursuing that. So I have no regrets. It was a great experience, a lot of lessons learned, and it led me to where I'm at now. And I just love this, just being able to educate people in regards to money, because I came out of college with a lot of debt. I had those student loans, and then I sure knew how to swipe a credit card. I see that too often. It's like a lot of people don't have that savings habit. We like to spend, a lot of the materialistic things. You got the cars, you got the clothes, the name brands, and all that stuff. It's very interesting here in California. It's actually the nicer the car somebody has, the more in debt they are. Once you really dive into
I think that's Texas too.
well, it's probably all over, but you know, it's just that's our culture, you know, and it's there needs to be some change for sure, because you know, obviously schools don't help teach about money. There's in regards, you know, even like thinking, there's a lot of stuff that should be implemented, like love and handling anger and depression and all that stuff. I really feel like it should be implemented, but that's a whole nother topic. But you know, in regards to money, we're not taught about money. A lot of people don't know about the money game, right? So that's what I truly love, is being able to educate people. It's like I don't discriminate, you know, I don't care how much money somebody has in their account. If they have $2, 200 million, it doesn't matter to me. I treat everybody the same. Everybody receives the same information, the same menu, and nobody is I'm not looking to, you know, pick and choose who I work with. I want to help everybody, right? I don't look at all that stuff and judge people. So that's what I love, the platform that we get to utilize, is being able to educate and help anybody, the masses, because the masses need help. Let me tell you, they need help, because it's just like you look at the numbers, the average American has about $400, not even $400 saved in their savings. And that, you know, the government has to step in and help everybody. And that just puts us in a bigger deficit. And of course, that's going to be some other problems later on. But, and like I said, that's a whole nother topic too. But just to kind of get into it, I have this presentation I would like to share, just to kind of get the message across, you know, in regards to talk about money and talk about a potential opportunity in this. So I don't know if I have the ability to share my screen.
I think you're going to have to request it, and I'll approve it.
Oh, I do. I have it.
Okay, cool.
Cool. I'm pre-approved. So here we go. Here we go. Let me make this bigger. There we go. I don't know if you guys could see it.
Definitely.
But, okay, so as you can see there, that's the name, Revolution Financial Management. It's just a brand. That's our brand. We have a broker dealer. That's why I have this wallpaper behind me, because a lot of people are familiar with or unfamiliar with our broker dealer, which is TFA. And that stands for Transamerica Financial Advisors. Okay. And, you know, I usually ask, have you heard of them? A lot of people say no. Some people say yes, but this building right behind my shoulder, that's the Transamerica building. This is in San Francisco, the landscape here. So this building, it's a pretty big building. Very, if you go there, it's kind of like an iconic building. It's in all the movies. Any movie filmed in Frisco, they have to put this building in the movie. It's in all the movies. Just to put a perspective on their size, Bank of America actually came out of Transamerica. A lot of people don't know that. Okay. And, you know, they're the third largest investment and financial company in the nation. So that's our broker dealer, right? And we're actually owned by an even larger company called Aegon, and that's AEGON, a huge financial company. They're a Dutch company, and they're just like one of those companies that's too big to fail. There's like 7 companies that are too big to fail, and they're one of them. So that's who owns us. Okay, and just to put a perspective on that, if something were to happen to Aegon, basically all of our cell phones would be out of service. They're a huge company. The government wouldn't allow it. They wouldn't allow it because it'd be detrimental to our whole society in this nation. That's how big they are. Okay, so let me just skip this page here. So if I look here, let me see if I can do this here. Oops. I want to make it, I can see everybody's face right here. All right. So this is just getting into it, a bit about who we are, what we do, and all this stuff. So the whole goal here today is not to try to sell anything, not to try to get anybody to jump into anything. Like, that's the least from it. The whole goal here is to bring some information, to bring some value, you know, to educate. Hopefully, you know, one or two of us could learn something from this presentation. So with the whole goal in mind here, as I go through it, we see these 3 perspectives. It's who do I know that could benefit from more financial education? We just want everybody to keep that in mind. Could this information be helpful to yourself or even your family? You know, some financial information in that regard. And then, of course, the business side, maybe there's a potential interest in the business. Okay, and I'll be upfront with it. This business isn't for everybody. Okay, it's for some, it's not for others. Okay, because it's just a different type of mindset. It's a different type of, the people involved. They have a hunger for wanting more out of life. Okay, so it's not for everybody. I'll be straight up with that. So let me skip this. And then our two great passions here, of course, is helping families, improving their financial lives. It just pains me to know, I've been in this boat where, people are worried about if they're going to make the bill on time, if they're going to have enough food in the fridge, if they're going to be able to pay that payment, and it's just an icky feeling, that stress and that worry and all that stuff. It causes other health issues, all that stuff. It causes health problems. So it just pains me to know that people have to live in that fashion. And I know what it's like, that's how I grew up. I didn't grow up with the lavish type of lifestyle. It was actually far from it. But and then another thing is, helping people build strong and enduring businesses that could provide a great quality of life. So that's just our thing here. We have a different group of people. It's a different culture. I don't consider everybody like coworkers. We're more like a community, like a family. We're here for each other. We have fun together. Obviously, in these pictures, they're in Hawaii here. So we have Hawaii trips every year. Here, that a group of people got to go to the New York Stock Exchange. Not everybody gets to go there. It's very selective. So we do get that kind of access. And then, so if we see here, our whole mission is no family left behind. That's our main mission. Okay. And then as we can see, like we have family A and family B. So in family A, which is the many people in middle America, they're making 6 figures or less. A lot of people just have a job. They have like a 401k plan. You could kind of go down the list. Maybe a term life, a group term type of policy. They rent. They're just putting money in a bank. They're swiping that credit card. They're not taking advantage of the taxes. They don't have any advisors. They have no plan. They're just hoping that they're going to be okay in the future. There's like they're throwing a dart blindfolded, hopefully being hopeful that they're going to hit the target. But a lot of people just don't know. And that's just a majority of the population, unfortunately. And then you got family B, it's the wealthy, right? Like the affluent. They're making $250,000 or more. A lot of the times they're business owners. They have some permanent life strategies. They have, the homeowners, a diversified portfolio. They're debt free. They're maximizing their tax advantages. They have financial advisors and professionals to help guide them. And, it just makes up a small percentage of the population. And, when I see that, it's like, man, I want to make that small percentage and grow it. I don't want a lot of people, there's too many people struggling. And I see that. And like I said, it just hurts me to see that a lot of families out there are struggling, especially with what's going on with this pandemic. A lot of businesses didn't make it, and a lot of families, all the layoffs, and it's just crazy times that we're in. So when you see at the bottom, it's most people don't plan to fail, they just fail to plan, right? So we're here to help people develop a plan and figure out where they need to go starting now, okay? So the state of our industry, middle American families are underserved. It's an underserved marketplace. When you look at traditional financial companies, they typically focus on the wealthy and the affluent. Okay, they see them. They make their fees off a minimum amount. Because I like to say, I could guarantee somebody if they got $1 million sitting in some account, they sure got a call from Goldman Sachs. I guarantee that. On the other hand, if somebody does not have $1 million, they're never going to get a call from Goldman Sachs. Now, I don't know if anybody knows who Goldman Sachs is, but when I first heard that, I didn't know who they were. And, for good reason. I thought it was an inventor, a guy like Thomas Edison. I was like, who's Goldman Sachs? What did he invent? I'm curious. Come to find out, it's just a big financial institution. And like I said, they focus on the wealthy, the affluent. They got a lot of money, some good income, so they get their fee off of that. And these people that they're helping really have no debt. So where does that leave everybody else? These companies see everybody else as a headache. Where for me, I see it as a heartache, because a lot of people out there are struggling, and I can't stress it enough. People out there are hurting, right? And I'm a prime example of that. I'm an only child. When I was 12 years old, my parents split. right? And I don't know if anybody's been a part of a broken family, but it's not fun, to say the least, right? It's not fun. It definitely put me in a dark place. Coming into my teenage years, I always say I spent it in darkness. I didn't care about life whatsoever when I was in that place. Like that.
Eddie,
Who said that?
Eddie,
Who
I
said that?
did. Liz, head.
Okay.
Hi,
How you
welcome.
doing? Thank you
I'm
so much.
good. I just want to know if you're on a boat or something. You rocking so much. Hell, you making me dizzy.
Oh, am I?
Yeah. You on a
Okay.
boat?
I'm
That's
standing
Miss
up.
Liz. I
Okay.
told you.
No, I'm standing up. You know, this
You
is how I get my energy.
you standing up. That's what
Yeah.
I understand that because I move around when I'm doing stuff too. But we
Okay.
on Zoom. You're gonna have to stand still because I'm like I just hopped
Well,
on. I've been trying to get on because I was driving, but like hell, I'm dizzy now. You moving
okay.
around so much.
All right. Yeah. Like, hopefully you're just looking at you could like move me out the way. You know, it just if you want to.
You're right. You're right.
Okay.
What an alternative. That is so awesome. I love him. Judy, I love him. You know what?
Yes, he's so full of energy, and Miss Liz, it's all positive. And sometimes I get kind of like that little negative, and he's like, well, and he gives me this way to look at things, and I'm like, it should be the other way around. I should be telling him that because I'm older.
Yeah, because like I said, look, could you stop moving around? He said, no, just move me around so you don't have to see me moving around. I love it. I love it.
With
Go
all
ahead,
the respect.
Eddie.
With all the respect.
Go ahead, Eddie.
Yeah.
Continue doing your thing.
All right, thank you. So where was I? My train of thought kind of got a little bit.
Oh, I know you can get it back.
Yeah, I'm about to come back now. So
come on back.
When it comes to myself, right? I was getting into a bit of myself, being an only child. My parents split when I was 12 years old, very detrimental to my life. And prior to that split, I remember the arguments of my mom and dad always had to do something about money. Not being able to afford this, not being able to go here because we didn't have the money. I see a lot of families, the kids want something and they gotta lie to them on why they can't have it. It's just, because they can't afford it, And so I know what that's like. So, I grew up thinking money's hard to get. Money's evil. Maybe I'm just not good enough for money. All these limiting beliefs. And I felt like I was the only one thinking like this, but unfortunately, there's a big population of people who have these types of limiting beliefs, right? And so going through life, now at the age I'm at now and completely doing a 180 in my life, and I have a lot to thank for this business, this opportunity of changing the whole structure of my mind. Now, I actually think about what I think about. A lot of people just react for certain things they go through, and I respond. I don't react, I respond. So I take the time, I think about things, and I'm actually more happy. I'm happier. I know before when I had a job, I know a lot of people say they're happy with their job, but they just don't want to, be open about it, that they're truly not happy, because who doesn't want to seem like they're happy, right? So, when I had that job, I remember there was days like I'd go to work and people were like, man, it's hump day. It's hump day. They're looking forward to that weekend, right? They're like, it's almost Friday. When Friday's here, yeah, man, I'm ready for the weekend. 2 days of that rest, Sunday comes, oh man, work tomorrow. I see that way too often. And people are just like looking forward to not being at work, to being with the people they love. They want to be with their friends. They want to be with their families. They just want to do things that they love doing, right? So in that regards, looking back, now that I've educated myself, I could look back at those times with my parents and I'm like, you know what? It's not their fault. They just didn't make enough money for somebody to come and help them, to guide them, to bring them direction, to give them peace of mind that everything's going to be okay. And obviously that's what we love about this, especially Judy and I. It's being able to help those types of people who would otherwise receive no type of help in regards to the financial industry. And that's what I love, being able to help those families, educate them. It's just, it means the world to me. It brings me so much joy, when I could save families, when I could save marriages, when I could save these kids, these children from going through what I went through. Oh my goodness, that brings so much joy to me. And I always say, like, nobody could ever rob me of my joy. Right. And I wake up each and every day excited. I'm pumped up. I feel like I could just run through a wall in the morning. I'm fired up. I'm like, what family am I going to touch today? Who am I going to help? Who am I going to intervene to prevent them from going to destruction? It's just, I love it. Okay. So, there's the business model. Like I said, they're geared towards more of the affluent people. There's just a huge need for what we do. Okay, so if I go on, we believe every family deserves to know their number. So what is that number, right? And it says, know your number and create your strategy. So that number is called a FIN number, F-I-N. It's probably the most important number anybody should know in their life, okay? So what the FIN number stands for is financial independence number, okay? And what that number states is it's the total amount of money you need at a certain age. So when you hit that number, you can live the rest of your life financially independent, right? You don't have to worry about if you're gonna have enough. It's basically, you get to a point where you work because you want to, not because you have to. It's retiring. I don't like saying retirement, but that's basically retirement. And I know, I go around, places like Walmart, Home Depot, restaurants. I see these people working there when, they should be enjoying life at this point in time. They're 60s, 70s, and they're still working. I'm like, hey, like what happened? And it come to find out like something happened. There was a crash in the market, or they lost a significant amount of money, and now they have to resort to plan B or plan C or plan D. So knowing this number is crucial to know that what you're doing now, the money that you're saving now is going to take care of you in the future. And it's all about combating the inflation and avoiding taxes and losses and all that stuff. So we help people figure out what that number is, okay? And it's all complimentary, it's all confidential. A lot of places you go to, it's called a financial need analysis. Places will charge anywhere from $500 to $1,000 to actually calculate this number. We do it all complimentary. So that's one of the great things too. So if I go here, these are the types of things that we teach people. As I go through it, if anybody here could think of anybody that could benefit from this stuff, like that's just what it's all about, because we really work off referrals. It's just a word of mouth type of thing here. So, these are the 6 different things here. We got cash flow, we got emergency fund, debt management, proper protection, building wealth, and preserving it. So it's just all about like, which ones do you feel most people would want to learn about? It could be one, it could be multiple, it could be all of them. So once we know that, we help focus on those goals and develop a plan for them that'll basically hone in on whatever their desires are. So we do that. That's part of the FNA. It's like a financial X-ray. Okay. So this just goes on to describe, I have to keep here. The education on every first business, we have a low-key approach. We don't like to pressure people into doing something they don't want to do. It's all about educating and awareness, right? We never do business on a first encounter, on a first meeting, never. We really want to showcase, we want people to make an educated decision. We want people to understand how these things work. It's not like, I know a lot of, when people think of financial advisors or something, they talk a big game. They have all these fancy letters after the name, and it's just like, man, I don't know what they said, but they must know what they're talking about. Where I always have that mindset or that thinking that if you can't explain it to a little kid, a kindergartner, you don't know what you're talking about. That's kind of my whole gist on it, but that's the thing. We're all about education, okay? So these are some of the companies that we basically work with. We're basically just a representative of some of these companies. A lot of places out there, they're captive. So we work with over 200 different product providers, big financial and investment companies, huge companies. I know, and it shows here, these are only 5 of the 200. So they're very well known. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people have heard of Nationwide. And I'm sure a lot of people know that jingle, that Nationwide is on your side. It's like, how do we all know that jingle? How's it instilled in our head? Well, these companies pay a lot in advertisement. So these companies have what's called advertising budgets, and they're huge buckets of money, okay? So through our education, because when it comes to finances, it's not a one-size-shoe-fits-all kind of deal. everybody's situation is different. Their living style, their income, their debt, their everything, their what they pay for their home, their rent, they have kids. It's all different. So through the planning, through all that stuff that we help with, it gives us the option to always have the family in the best interest at heart. Because being able to work with over 200 different product providers allows us to help just about anybody. And that's what's beautiful about it. So when we educate a family, and let's say we connect them over to one of these companies like Nationwide in turn pays us out the back end. Okay, so that's how we're able to provide free education. We don't charge any fees. We don't have any of that. So we actually charge the providers for bringing them a client that they didn't really have to advertise for. And
Eddie?
yeah.
Eddie, this is Liz again. I'm so sorry that
No,
I
no
wasn't
problem.
here at the beginning. Well, I tried to be, but I was in the car and I couldn't really get it to get the voice thing. But are we allowed to ask questions during the presentation, or do you want us to wait until the end? Since I haven't heard anybody talking to you but me, is that what you would prefer we wait until the end? Well, or can we ask questions as we go?
You know, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of questions. And that's just a thing. I know we have a limited time. You know, I don't know what time it is, but in regards,
just tell me you want me to wait, and then I'll write my question down so I don't forget it.
Yeah, you can write it down. That's no problem.
Okay.
We're gonna be posting a form. It's like a Google form. Judy's gonna be posting it because we would love to answer these questions, but due to time's sake, we just won't have that option to do that. So Judy is gonna post a Google form, and on that Google form, you could put in, like, I know some people are gonna have more interest in learning about, the money side, or when I get to the whole business aspect, maybe some people are interested in the business, right? So at the end of this, form.
That's true. I let me just ask this. Let me just ask this anyway, because I probably won't get to that form, to be honest with you. You just said that you send these companies referrals and the companies pay you. Did I understand that correctly?
You could, yeah, that's basically it. Yeah, we just
they're paying for the referrals. They're paying for the referrals. Now
we're bringing them clients, so yeah, you could say referrals. That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, they're paying you for the referrals. Now, would we know what part of the charge that they're paying us is really your cost?
Would we know what part of the charge they're paying?
It's just like it's just like, in my mind, yeah, you guys will do some referrals to these companies for us to do some investing or whatever the case may be. However, a portion of the fee that these companies, that your Prudentials, your Nationwide, your Transamerica, your Voya, whatever, part of the fee that they're going to charge us has been inflated to cover your fee.
That the whole fee, like every company has a fee, right? Every company needs to make money. It's not like no company has no fees. They got to make their money, right? But as far as the portion what they pay us, that's on a whole different type of contract. What we have built with these providers, that's a whole separate contract. It has nothing to do. We don't take the money from the families. We're not charging them anything.
Well, but here's the other thing. What we've got to do is make sure, when you talk about, I did hear you say that we've got to be able to explain things to people like they are kindergartners or whatever. Yeah. So I think that it's important that people know, yes, there is a fee. However, you're not paying that fee up front. You're paying that fee kind of on the back end. You're paying that fee, and so we as your consumers don't really see the fee that you're being paid for the assistance that you have provided us. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't have that, because you should. Nobody works for free. too much.
Mhm.
You working for free tonight, but there's
Yeah.
a reason for that.
Yeah.
So when I hear there's no fee, and then you say these people pay me, well, I'm like, well,
Yeah.
so they're really, my camera is messed up too. There really is a fee, but we don't get that fee at the initial meeting, or educational opportunity with you, with
Yeah.
your organization.
Yeah, correct. We don't
Okay.
have any fees, right? We don't have any fees that we're going to charge these families. Like, even like you just said, like me doing this right now, I'm not getting paid to do this. And time is more valuable than money. So, I'm spending some of my time here.
And we appreciate it.
Yeah, no, it's all good. Thank you guys for allowing us to do this on this platform, and bringing people along with this. So, another comparison I like to make with us is we're just like Amazon. Okay, Amazon really revolutionized the way people shop, right? You could go on Amazon at the click of a button on our cell phones. You could buy a pair of shoes. You could buy a boat, right? And you don't really pay any extra hidden fees. You pay for really what it is, what the price says, for the most part. And it's not that Amazon is really selling their own products. It's just a bunch of vendors showcasing their products on the Amazon platform for the consumers to purchase. Right? Because I know, like, back in the day, I say back in the day, I mean, I'm in my 30s, but I still remember back in the day, in my days, where, you want to buy a TV, you go to the TV store. You want to buy shoes, you go to the shoe store, right? You want to buy some clothes, you go to the clothing store. Now it's all available on Amazon for the most part. Same thing with us, Elizabeth. Back in the day, if you wanted a will, you wanted a trust, you go see an attorney. If you wanted to get some sort of a life insurance plan, you see a license, like a insurance agent, right? If you wanted to get your retirement in place, you go see a financial advisor, right? We have all that in one. We encapsulate all that stuff in one. I like to say we're like a Swiss Army knife. We could do just about anything. Okay, we help people with debt, getting out of debt. We help with college planning for kiddos, right? We help people develop an emergency savings, retirement planning, you name it, right? I also like to say we're like a multi-trick pony, okay? But we typically focus on the best stuff, all right? So we're really compared like to the Amazon platform. We're revolutionizing the way financial information is distributed to the masses. That's really the goal here. So yeah, but thank you for chiming in, Elizabeth. I actually enjoy getting feedback and talking to somebody. It's cool. So I appreciate that.
Please call me Liz.
Okay, Liz. I'm sorry about that.
Oh, that's okay.
So let's get into a little bit about the money, right? So let's check this out here. So when it comes to time, I always like to say, I don't know, maybe Liz, maybe you could participate in this. But when it comes to living a healthy lifestyle, what do you think are the three key factors in living a healthy lifestyle? What would you say?
What are the three? Say that again.
3 key factors in living a healthy lifestyle.
Well, for me, I also heard you talk about people who are 60 and 70 and still working. So now you're talking about me. So I kind of said, ooh, I did some of the things you mentioned, but then I spent my money and I just thought I'd always be able to make some more. But anyway, what I think about at 68, almost 69 years old, a healthy lifestyle that I don't always do is to have work-life balance. At my age, that's number one for me, and I don't always achieve that. Exercise and eating better.
There you go.
Those are the things that I think are important. Now, that money help you do some of that stuff.
That's true. Yeah. So you hit it right there. You basically hit it on the button. So number 1 is eating right. Okay. Number 2 is exercising. And number 3 is sleeping, getting rest. Those are some 3 main things right there. Now, on the other hand, Liz, like, what do you say are the 3 main factors in building wealth?
Why are you picking on me now?
You know,
Just because I opened my mouth?
who else wants it?
Think from here again, for in building
I only
wealth.
see you on my screen, so that's why.
I'm gonna hide myself in a minute. To build wealth, first of all, you've got to have a plan. You've got to have a plan. How do you intend to do it? You've got to have a budget. You got to know where your money's going. You know, oftentimes we make money, we make a lot of money. And when I say a lot, that's relative to each individual circumstances, because oftentimes it's not so much how much we make, but how we spend what we make.
There you go.
So,
yeah, thank you. So, you know, if I ask that question to people, I'm going to get completely different answers from everybody. Okay. But, you know, those are great answers, Liz. So thank you.
Thank you.
3 main things that people want to look at when it comes to building wealth. Number 1 is time, right? I'm sorry. It's the time. Number 2 is the risk. So 1 is time, 2 is risk, and 3 is taxes.
Oh yeah.
What do you think the biggest killer of money is? It's taxes.
Taxes.
Okay. Yeah. So those are 3 things you want to kind of be focused on when it comes to building and preserving and growing wealth. So in this example, let's talk about time. So in this example, it says if somebody's saving $5,000 a year in some let's say a tax deferred account, that's like a 401k IRA or something like that. And let's say they're getting 10% every year. Okay. And you have 2 people, you know, participating in this example. You have person A and person B. And person A does this strategy for 40 years. And person B misses out on 2 years and said, you know, I'll wait 2 years. I still got enough time. So they miss out on 2 years and they end up doing this strategy for 38 years. So when you look at the effect of that, of time. So in total, $5,000 a year for 40 years.
Uh-oh, did he freeze?
I freeze?
No, you're back.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know what you guys heard.
$5,000 a year for 40 years.
Yeah, it's 200K. Person B, 38 years is 190. That's a 10K difference, right? On the back end, you can see person A accumulated 2.2 million, whereas person B, 1.8. Now, what's the difference in that? 400 grand. That's a pretty substantial difference for waiting 2 years. Okay, so when you really break that down into months, into weeks, into days, into hours, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, person B is basically like missing out on those 2 years. It's like if he was dropping out $100 per hour out of his pocket. Now, if you saw somebody losing $100 bill and, hey, excuse me, you just dropped 100. Oh no, it's all good. I'm not worried about that. I'm not worried about that. What would you call that person? They're crazy, right? It's like
crazy,
you know. So that's just the effect of time, and it's just funny, you know. Like the earlier, like people in their 20s are like, "Oh, I got time to save." It's like, man, like if you just start saving now, the effects of it in the future is substantial. It's crazy. Okay. So, and a lot of people have those excuses. There's always something, right? They're looking for the right time. You know, if you continue to look for the right time, it's just going to pass you by. So now let's look at the rule of 72. I don't know if you guys have heard of the rule of 72 before, but Einstein calls this rule the 8th wonder of the world, Albert Einstein. So after this, you know, a few of you could go to somebody and say, guess what? I just saw the 8th wonder of the world. Okay. Because, you know, why not? All right. So the rule of 72, this basically states, if you take an interest rate, right, let's say 1%, and you divide it by the rule of 72, you divide that interest rate by 72, that's going to give you the number of years it's going to take for your money to double. Okay, and let me just show you an example so it makes sense. So let's just say a 29-year-old is saving $10,000, okay, and they're doing it getting a 1% interest. Now, what do you think banks offer on interest on the money? It's not 1%. You know, I always say, like, check your bank, see what they're giving you. It's probably like 0.1%. 72 divided by 0.1 is 720. So if you have 10 grand and you're 29, 720 years later, you're gonna have and you're ready to party, have fun, you know, celebrate. You're probably looking like a mummy, but you know, why not? So, you know, a lot of, you know, let's say the bank is kind enough to give you 1%. 72 divided by 1 is 72. So if you're 29, putting in 10 grand, 72 years later, you're 101 with double the money. Okay. And you know, this works for you or against you. Money's always going to grow. The question is it going to grow for you or for somebody else?
Right.
Right. And this could work for you or against you. You look at credit cards, you know, the interest rate on credit cards is average about 20%. You do the rule of 72 on that, you could figure that out. If you have $10,000 in debt, you know, every 4 years, that 10,000 is gonna double. It can work for you or against you. So you look at 4%, 72 divided by 4 is 18. So every 18 years, your money's doubling. Okay. Now at age 65, they now have 40 grand. So if I want my money to double, if I want that 40 to be 80, what do you think I need to do to my interest rate? What do a lot of people say? Well, you should probably double your interest rate. All right, fair enough. Let's check this out. If you only go up 2%, now you're at 6%. 72 divided by 6 is 12. And check that out there. Look at the effects of just a 2% increase. At age 65, you doubled your money. You don't have just 40, now you got 80, right? And now if we go to 10%, 72 divided by 10 is 7. It's about 7 points. Let's just say 7 years. Now it's doubling every 7.2 years. So at age 57, you got 160 grand. Now, what do you think banks do with our money? Right? They invest our money into accounts getting 10% and above, right? And they're giving the people 0.1. And then they're charging people credit cards 20%. Hey, I don't know, man. That's just the game. You can't get mad at it, right? You just got to get educated. So when it comes to that, I always say, like, isn't it only fair or only right that everybody else gets those types of returns, right? So we show people certain accounts where you can get 10% types of returns, right? So, oh yeah, it even goes to 72. I didn't even push it. So it's 640 grand at age 72 in a 10%. So now let's look at risk, right? So these are 3 different types of strategies here, right? The first one is fixed. So what's fixed? That's like a CD. If anybody is familiar with the CD that banks offer, it's called a certificate of deposit. Typically give you about a 2% return on your money. So it's going to grow very slow and steady, you know, not too exciting. And then you got a variable strategy, the one in the middle. I like to call that the heartbeat strategy. So some people get heart attacks from this type of deal, right? So the money goes up, the money goes down, the money goes up. That's like a 401k. That's like an IRA. That's like a 403b, a 457. All these tax deferred tax codes. Those are all just tax codes. A lot of people don't even know why it's called the 401k. Everybody I ask, I'm like, why is it called a 401k? Why isn't it called a 202k or a 604k? What do you think everybody says? I don't even know. And I used to have one and I didn't know. And I thought that was very interesting. How come I don't know why it's called a 401k? And it's basically a tax code. That's all it is. Who comes up with the tax codes? Well, the IRS. Now, do they want us to save our money, grow our money, protect our money, or cough it up? You know, I don't know, maybe the latter. But the tax code means you're not going to get taxed now, but on the growth of your hard-earned money, yeah, you get those deductions in the beginning, you get those write-offs, but on the back end, 30 years down the road, on the harvest of your money, Uncle Sam's going to come knocking. It's time to pay up, right? So are taxes going to go up or down? The probability of it, I don't know. You know, a lot of people say up. So I'm like, isn't it interesting people utilizing a strategy like this to pay taxes later on when they're probably going to go up? I think that's very interesting. But people don't say anything. They don't even know why it's called the 401k. So, you know, I'm just trying to bring this education to people. It's like, man, it's crazy because I didn't know. That's why the light bulb went off in my head. I was like, shoot, I went to college and I don't even know this stuff. And I was in debt, you know, and I'm like, man, how many other people don't? It's a lot of people. So a variable strategy, right? The money goes up, it goes down, and you're just in the market. You're going up, you know, you're at risk of losing, right? I don't know if anybody knows Warren Buffett, whether you like the man or not, but I love what he says. Rule number 1, don't lose money. Rule number 2, don't forget about rule number 1. Don't lose money. It's super important. Then you look at that index strategy, right? It's compared to the variable. I like to call it the staircase strategy. So I don't know if I could draw. Oh, I could draw. So, you know, it just goes, when the market does good, it's comparing it. It's basically mirroring that variable one. So when the variable went up, you go up in an index strategy. But when the market declines, when there's a correction, you stay at a standstill. You don't lose. And then when it goes back up, you go back up. Then when it's going all funky up and down, you're not losing. You're just on the rise, right? And that's we show people what types of strategies to utilize an index on. Okay, so let me clear this. There we go. All right. Let me go next. Oops. Okay, so now we look at the risks, right? The impact of losses. And it's very funny because in this example, it says if you have $100 and you lose 50% of that money, what do you end up with? Well, half of 100 is $50, right? So you have $50. Now, if the market goes up 50 and you have 50, a lot of people, you know, it's like half of 50 is 25. So now you're only getting $25. So you're getting 75, right? And it's just funny because some people like to say about the average rate of return. It's like, if I lose 50 and I gain 50, oh, I'm at a 0% average rate of return. But when it comes to money, that's not the case. There's something called a real rate of return. Now, the real rate of return on this is negative 25%. So you lost 50 with your $100, you went down 50. Now, what do you think you need to get to go back to 100? You need to get 100% gain to go back up to where you were, right? A lot of people are unaware of that. So, and it's just interesting, a lot of places you go, they're like, oh no, your average rate of return is 0%, you're fine. It's like, oh man, my money doesn't look fine. So it's all about understanding that. And then obviously it said 100% gain is required to fully recover a 50% loss. That's why losing is detrimental, especially, you know, when people are planning to retire and the market takes a dump and they lose all this money, it's going to take a long time for them to get back up to where they were. Then they have to go back to work again. They have to do all this stuff. They have to come up with different plans. So we show people on how to not to lose, right? That's the whole thing right here. So then we talk about taxes, right? The third one. These are the three ways how money is taxed. You got taxable, you got tax deferred, you got tax advantage. Now I like to say, like, out of these three, which one sounds more appealing? You know, typically everybody says, well, that tax advantage. I'm like, yeah, I mean, it sounds appealing to me too. So what are the differences? Well, in a taxable account, what's a taxable account? That's like your checkings, your savings, mutual funds, a CD, stocks, bonds, things like that. Where the gains every year are taxed annually. It's called capital gains. So you got to pay taxes on the gains of your money, on the dividends. So it's basically like 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 2 steps forward, 1 step back, that kind of strategy. And then tax deferred, what's a tax deferred account? That's like your 401k. That's like your IRA, where you're not taxed in the beginning, but on the back end, like I said, that's when Uncle Sam's going to come knocking. It's time to pay up. So the money's taxed as income, right? A lot of people are unaware of that. You know, they think they're gonna be in a lower tax bracket later on too, but you know, a tax bracket is a whole nother type of thing. It's a marginal tax bracket. So, but yeah, tax deferred, like I said, you know, CPAs, things like that, they're gonna, you know, they want you to save taxes now. Nothing wrong with that. That's their job. They want you to save taxes now. So they encourage people to max fund your 401k, get an IRA. You're saving taxes now. You're getting those write-offs, those deductions. But what about the back end 30 years down the road? You know, it's like, I don't know. I'd rather pay taxes on the seed than on the harvest of my money, right? You know, I'm sure that a lot of people agree. They're like, I'd rather pay taxes on the seed and not the harvest. So a tax advantage, you're paying taxes on the seed and you're enjoying the riches of your harvest without having to pay taxes, right? And there's different strategies for that. And we help showcase people what those strategies are. There's basically 2 ways that we like to talk about. Yeah, you got municipal bonds, but the rates of return on those aren't very good. So there's something called the Roth IRA. A lot of people know about. It's named after Senator Roth. And then you got something called private placement. Okay, so we go over those things, you know, that's why I say, I know there's probably a lot of questions, but at the end of this, you know, it'd be nice to meet up with anybody who wants to, you know, kind of dive deeper into knowing how these things work. And we're happy to help with that. But let me see, just due to the sake of time, I know it's 5:52. So, all Our second passion, obviously, the opportunity, right? The business. So our whole thing here, and what I love about this, in this business, the one thing that really caught my eye is I saw the diversity of the people involved. I saw the different skin colors. I saw the different ages. I saw the different backgrounds. We attract a different type of people, right? Because, you know, if you love helping families, like we work a lot with pastors. We have a lot of pastors involved in this. We have a lot of teachers involved because teachers like to educate. We have a lot of, just a lot of great people. And like I said, that's what really attracted me is I saw, it's like, it looked like the United Nations. I was like, man, all these people from different backgrounds, like different religions, different walks of life. And we're all coming together for a sole purpose, a sole mission on No Family Left Behind. And that's what really caught my eye. And I was like, man, this is different. I haven't not seen something like this. You know, usually places you go, they stick with a certain ethnicity or there's a certain gender. Here, it's like, wow, like this is
That's
crazy.
so true.
Yeah, you know,
because when I was with another group, they were all Hispanic, and a lot of them spoke just Spanish, and I don't understand what they're saying. And you know, it's like, ah. But when I immediately noticed the different background, Indian, Iranian, Chinese, Filipino, you know, it's like we're all a big. It's so fun because we're just complementing one another and all our skills and yeah.
Absolutely. It's just we
Sure.
attract a different type of people, and that's what I love. And I also love that everybody, it's a level playing field. You know, nobody gets, you know, moves up another level based on popularity or based on, you know, a piece of paper that they have, you know, like a resume or something. It's all about on your work ethic. It's all about on your integrity, your honesty. That's what we really hone in on, right? If you're a bad person, you're going to get weeded out. You're going to get filtered out of this. Like the way this system is developed, the good people stick around for good reason. So, you know, and it's also about having a great time. You know, people say, you know, in the right, when people say you're in the wrong place at the wrong time, but it's like, you need to be in the right place at the right time. So, and now's the right time. But when you look at our system, a true system can be ran by people with the lowest level. Anybody could do it with the lowest levels of skills. You don't need to be no Harvard graduate. You don't need to be no financial guru, right? It's actually the less you know about money, the better you'll be at this. Because when I first saw this, all this money related stuff was just flying over my head. And I was like, I can't comprehend this. This is so foreign to me. But the more you go, the more you learn, right? So it's all about that. You just stick in there and then things just start to absorb and then it start to make sense. And you're like, I see how this works. So, you know, when it comes to this, like I said, anybody could do it. We have a few people down here, like right here on the left. This guy here, he was a mechanic. Then you got this lady here. She was in mortgage. This fella here, he was a tennis coach. Then we got this guy here, Raja. He was a taxi driver. Then you got this couple here. This guy was a construction worker. This lady worked at Bally Total Fitness. Anybody could do this thing. We got stay-at-home moms doing this. It's just awesome. It's just awesome what you learn, who you become. It's all about becoming the best version of yourself. That's why we really focus on personal development. Because a lot of people come into this thing. I came into this thing cracked. I had an employee mindset. You know, it's a lot different from a business owner type. It's all mindset. So I came into this thing with a different type of mindset, and now it's just been reformatted, readjusted, and it's like I can see clearly now. But there's tons of success stories that we have. You know, then we look at the ways people earn money. Most people are an employee, right? There's 4 ways you earn money as an employee. You're self-employed, you're a business owner or an investor. I don't know if anybody knows Robert Kiyosaki. He talks of the cash flow quadrant. But a lot of people are in that employee category. That's where I started. I was an ice cream scooper at Baskin Robbins. If anybody's familiar with that place, I was 15 years old. Most people get their start as an employee. That's when you learn it. And then some people find out that it's not for them, right? Having a schedule, having a boss, having limited income, having to get permission to get time off. I used to get denied when I asked, you know, 2 months ahead, I need to schedule something for a wedding. They're like, that's our busy month. I don't think it's a good idea. I'm like, man, I'm a grown adult and I'm getting denied time off. It's very interesting. And then, you know, it's not that businesses are evil, but if something happens to the economy like COVID back in March, businesses got profits and they got expenses, you know, and a person's salary is part of their expense. So they got to do something called layoffs. It's very unfortunate. The businesses aren't evil, but they got to protect their business. So when that happens, people go to self-employment. That's like following your passion, right? You're a dancer, you open up a dance studio. You're a cook, you open up a restaurant, something like that. And the challenge with that is you got to do the work to get paid. You basically own a job, right? And, you know, there's a lot of these people think they're business owners, right? But there's a question you say like, well, could you go to Europe for a month and spend it with your family? And while you're in Europe, you're still generating income as if you were working. Wait,
Yep.
no, I
And
got to work to.
That's
Yeah.
me. No loan signings. I can't take off for a week. No money in the bank.
You know, so, but I'm not trying to bag on anything or talk it down. I'm just trying to bring the information, bring it like what it really is. Okay. But, so yeah, that's a self-employed type of deal. You gotta be there to make the money. But you got that freedom, you know, that freedom's nice. No boss, you know, you're doing it on your own time. That's nice. People love that freedom, right? They want control of their time, control of their destiny, right? Then you got a business owner where you own a system. You build a system, you buy a system, but you have a system that runs whether you're there or not. Okay. And that's a business owner. You don't have to be there to start to make money, to generate income. And it's very interesting because business owners pay less in taxes than employees. That's also interesting. When an employee gets paid, money's already taken out of their check, right? Compared to a business owner, they get paid, they spend their money, and then they pay taxes on what's left over.
Exactly.
I mean, which one sounds better? I like the business owner, right? So yeah, then you got that. It's like a McDonald's, you know, the franchise. You never see the owner of a McDonald's at the McDonald's. I don't know if anybody has, but they're out, they got time and they got money, right? So they basically, you know, it takes a lot of money to build a McDonald's. You're talking about $1 to $2 million. But, you know, when they get it started, they recruit a bunch of teenagers, show them how to run the system, the McDonald's system, and then it takes about a week or two, then they flee, right? They leave, let it run. So with that being said, then where was I getting at? Then you got the investors, right? Where you work hard for your money. Why shouldn't you work hard? Why shouldn't your money work hard for you? I like to call it sweat equity. That's like, you know, the savings, investing type of stuff. So I just want to make sense of that, like the 4 different ways. So in our model, you know, this is a little bit about how people get paid. You know, if you're an associate in this example, it's if you're helping 4 families a month, and then this is the type of income you'd be generating each month, and then that's the yearly income. Then you got your brokerage type of position. Once you're a broker, you're basically a business owner. When you're an associate, you're self-employed. We're just like real estate, the agency model. You know, you got a brokerage like Remax or Century 21. Then you got the broker, and then the broker has his team of agents, right? And then the agents are selling the homes. They get their cut, and the broker gets his, and the brokerage gets theirs. We're very similar to that. We just have a lot of twists. We just have a little twist in it that basically eliminates the competition, because I hear real estate is very competitive. Okay. But this just goes on the breakdown. You're a broker. You're basically generating about $7 grand a month if you're helping 4 families each month. And then the whole thing with this, what separates us from like the financial, we basically encompassate 5 different business models in our model. And one of them is finance. And in finance, it's very lucrative, the highest grossing industry next to sports and entertainment. But the main difference is in finance, like a Morgan Stanley, they can't really build a team. Right here, you know, it's all about building a team, building a business. You know, sure, you can make a lot of money doing your own work. Like you can make a lot of money. But when you got a team, it's a whole different. You know, you could either do 100% of the work or have 100 people doing 1% of the work, right? So it's all about building a team. And then once you build a team, then the numbers get a bit different. Okay, and I know just for time, I'll just kind of breeze by it right now. I don't need to talk. So you talk about timing is everything. It's about being in the right place at the right time. So when we follow this model, it's all about looking at baby boomers, right? So baby boomers, you know, all the army people came back from the army, and what they do, right? They missed their wife, they had babies, and then what company came into play when the babies needed food? Gerber, right? Gerber exploded with all those babies. It's not that they had the best baby food. It wasn't, not that it tastes delicious. They're just the right place at the right time. Then these little kids are getting older, the baby boomers. Then you look at toys, you look at Mattel, things like that, Fisher Price. And then they started getting older. Look at the fast food joints, McDonald's, right? These fast food places started coming about. And then the cars, they're in college, they want to drive cars. You got like the Mustang, right? Or then, you got like the Mustang. And then real estate, of course, you had that real estate boom. All the, I remember when the real estate boom, everybody you talked to had a real estate license. You go to eat at a restaurant, your server had a real estate license. Everybody did at one point. And so now you look at the baby boomers, where they're at now, they're all in that retirement age, right? And in these retirement accounts, there's over $26 trillion in these retirement accounts, right? And there's something called the greatest wealth transfer in human history. You could Google it. It's called the greatest wealth transfer in human history. Okay, so all this money sitting in these accounts. What's the biggest fear of these baby boomers? A lot of it, it's really not about death. It's running out of money. They don't want to run out of money. They don't want to lose money. So we basically, have strategies for these baby boomers to utilize different accounts where they're guaranteed not to lose on their principal, and they only absorb the upside of the market, right? And it's huge. And $1 trillion, if you break that down, like what's $1 trillion? That's if you were to spend $1 million every single day for the next 2,600 years. That's $1 trillion. And there's 26 of these bad boys. Okay, it's a lot of money, right? So it's all about being in the right place at the right time. And let me tell you, this is the right time, because every baby boomer that's retiring, you look at Social Security, that's a whole nother thing, but only 3 people are funding Social Security for every baby boomer that's retiring. That's why, so you look at Social Security, it's projected to deplete in 2034. So that's, like I said, that's a different thing, but it's just something to be aware about. And then, let's see here. So yeah, it's all about having strong core values. Like I said, we focus on personal development, personal growth. Anybody in this thing 6 months and longer, they're going to tell you they're a completely different person. Me, for example, I've been in this thing for 3 years. I'm a better husband. I'm a better father. I'm a better son. I'm a better man. I'm a better person in general because of the stuff that we utilize here. The events we have, the seminars, the books, all this stuff. It just, everybody has certain strengths, right? And everybody has a certain mission in life. So that's the beauty about this. When people talk about passion, it's like I'll go back to McDonald's. Like the owner of a McDonald's doesn't have a passion for burgers for the most part. It's not like their burgers are their passion. You could be a vegan and open up a McDonald's, right? You don't need a high school diploma, a college degree. In this thing here, the financial products are phenomenal, but that's just the burger. That's our burger. That's our Big Mac. That's our quarter pounder, all these products. My passion is just like a McDonald's owner is building a business, having that time and that money, right? And not just that, but having fulfillment. With time and money on its own, a lot of people end up being unhappy. But once you have fulfillment and being able to serve others and help others get out of their pits, whatever they're in, and you build people up, it makes you feel so happy and brings so much joy. So, it's all about having that honesty, that integrity. If you're a bad person, you're not going to make it. And it's all about teamwork. We really pride ourselves in teamwork. A rising tide lifts all boats. We're all in this together. We're all in this mission together. A lot of places, the workplaces, I always used to hear, that's not my job. Why do I have to do that? Let them figure it out. I'm not getting paid for that. That's above my pay grade. I hear a lot of that talk. And it's like a lot of division. And here it's all about unity, coming together for the right cause. I could call somebody at any time during the day and they're going to pick up, Eddie, what do you need? They're not getting any monetary value from it, but we're on this mission together of no family left behind. So it's just different. It's a different culture. And as far as our whole thing here, we're not like a religious company, but we really pride ourselves in the mission before the commission, right? It's all about the family first, your team second, and yourself last. We have a different code of honor here. It's all about faith, family, business. That's really what it comes down to. We work with families, we partner up with family, like Judy was saying. My wife, you know, she gets on me with this. She's like, you know, you got to go help families. You know, it's changed both of us. So that's extremely important. Okay, because I know a lot of businesses, they see, you know, if you're dating somebody or working with your spouse, it's like a distraction. Here, it's actually encouraged. Working with families is awesome. You're basically building a family business, and then you got your kids involved. We have cool little Zoom events where the kids, you know, we have like a certain child or two kids explaining how to use a piggy bank, how a check works, how savings work, and it's cool getting the kids involved to learn stuff that schools don't help with. So they're just around entrepreneur type of people, innovators, imagine people that are creative, that use their imagination. A lot different from school, because I look at school, it's more about academics and just memorization. Right? That's what it comes down to. And I mean, I forgot a lot of the stuff from school. I don't remember the Pythagorean theorem if you even ask me. So, like I said, faith, family, business. You know, it's important to have all this stuff. We believe in, you know, involving family helps create a more positive environment. We want our associates' family to be more supportive and involved. We really hone in on that. It's wonderful. And then recognition is huge. We have cool recognition. It's all about EPR. We call it EPR. That's encourage, praise, and recognize. I feel like there's like I said, a lack of recognition out there in the workforce. People get recognized for showing up late. I used to. I was 2 minutes late. I had my boss tapping at his watch like, Eddie, you have a schedule. You're 2 minutes late. I'm like, man, there was traffic, man. Give me a break. I was like, you didn't recognize me last week. I stayed 20 minutes over. How come you didn't call me in the office? You know, it'd be a lot different if they call me in the office. Like, Eddie, you know what? We need more people like you. You know, you giving that extra mile, man. Where can we find more people like you? As a matter of fact, you're getting a $2 raise next week. How does that sound? Shoot, that sounds great if it happened. Never happened, you know? So it's crazy. It's messed up. You know, I just.
Eddie.
Yeah.
I would like to recognize you. We're 10 minutes over.
Okay. I'm sorry. I tried to, you know, I'm at the end here too.
Great presentation. Yeah. Can we wrap it up a bit?
Yeah. So I'll wrap it up. Thank you for letting me know that. Sorry for going over.
No worries.
We actually I gotta get somewhere too myself, but I was getting too in the moment here. So
it happens.
Yeah, when you look at this, Judy's actually gonna be posting a form. It's a Google document.
Oh, yes.
She's already done it, I believe.
Okay,
yes.
Cool. So in that document, obviously, I'm sure if people have more questions, they want to learn more about the money stuff, like the taxes, you know, the rates of return, all that good stuff. We definitely could talk more into that. You know, this is just the tip of the iceberg. You know, underneath it's a lot bigger. So we would definitely love to meet other people. You know, answer any questions that they have. I know Liz, you know, was talking about that, so we'd be happy to answer other questions. And then there might be some people who are interested in the business aspect, you know, making more money, generating an extra stream of income, you know, to help, you know, put towards retirement, to help for that vacation home, to help put kids into college, whatever the case may be. All this is a vehicle to get to your dreams and goals. This is just a vehicle to get there. You know, I'm using this vehicle to eventually fund prosperity centers around the globe, learning centers, orphanages, hospitals in less fortunate countries. That's my goal, and that's why I'm utilizing this business strategy to do that dream of mine. And that's my dream.
Awesome.
And besides retiring my mom and all that stuff, but that, you know, it's just great. So yeah, that's basically the end there, Tamika. So thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
And
thank you.
Let me stop sharing.
Your daughter, I'm in love with her. She is just magnificent.
It was my fault
her questions.
It was my fault that he went over. I'm sorry, Eddie.
It always is. It always is.
I didn't know your mother-daughter duo right here.
Oh, our community is very aware of how we go over because of Miss Liz.
Well, I'm sorry for that. And yeah, so hopefully you guys learned a few things. That's kind of my hope into this. That
thank you.
It brought some insight, brought a little bit of value. But yeah, I'd love to be able to meet whoever was on this call or whatever the case may be. If anybody knows of anybody, just go ahead and it's all in that form that Judy posted. So that
Yes,
would
it's on the chat. So if anyone's interested in meeting up with Eddie, it is in the chat. So go ahead and get that information before we sign off. That was amazing. I mean, some of it is, it's not like you learn because you already know this information, but it's like bringing it back in the forefront. It's like, you know what? I really need to do better. So thank you, Eddie, for that.
you got it.
Judy, thank you for bringing Eddie to our community. This was
Yes.
amazing. I loved it. All right. Everyone, thank you for signed in. If you came in late, this is being recorded, so it will be on our YouTube channel, and I will share it in our Facebook group tomorrow. So no worries, you can catch the whole program. Let's see. We're taking a break this weekend. We have our notary one-on-one, the last one for the year. That will be November 7th. So get rest up and come on and join us November 7th. November is the last month for classes. Keep in mind, we do not do classes in December. Also, our classes will be taking a price increase in January. So get in when the money's good, right? Next week, we have Antoinette back November 4th with the preferred notary. November 10th, it will be prior talking about our QuickBooks. It's about to be the end of the year, so we want to get our taxes in order. So we definitely want to catch that. Then November 11th, we have another notary coming on to talk about other streams of income. And then on the 18th, field inspections. I know I had a lot of people wanting to know about how to be a field inspector. So I do expect that class to be full. So get your register early and be here early. We only have about 100 spots. So just make sure that you get in early for the field inspectors. Are there any questions for us before we sign off?
You want to tell them about our what's coming up for the classes for November on the 3rd?
I'm gonna go ahead and excuse myself, guys.
Thank you, Eddie.
Have something.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you guys as well. It's a pleasure.
Thank you, Eddie.
November 3rd will be a Tuesday. What's on the 3rd?
Our discount.
Or what? No, we gotta. I was not saving that. Well, I guess she spilled the beans. So we will have the pack the class in honor of the voting. You know, our election day. But I know everyone voted early. But we're still going to do a pack the classroom discount for November 3rd. I was not going to start talking about it until November, but she let the cat out of the bag. So if you are looking for a discount, wait till the 3rd and we'll give you a special code for all the November classes. So that you can use the code for every single class if you want to. But it only be for one day. So you would have to sign up on that day for whatever classes that you wanted to attend. So yeah, that's what we have on the 3rd. She let it out early, so you'll be looking for it. So now I gotta go do my posting now. I wasn't supposed to talk about it to the 1st, but you know what? That's all right. All right, but if we don't have any questions, we're gonna end this Zoom. Any questions for us?
Judy, thank you so much.
You're so welcome, and thank you for all you do for the group. You've just been hitting and running with it since you became a member, and I really appreciate you. Everybody does.
I love it.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Judy, and everyone else. Have a good night. We'll see some of you next week for class, and I hope to see a lot of you on November 4th for Antoinette to be your title company's preferred notary. Everyone wants to be that preferred notary because that means we're getting those calls, right? And we're running. All right. So have a good evening.
Thank you, baby girl.
You're welcome.